I have good news. This time on Finnegan's Garage, we are testing Blasphemi in preparation for Drag Week. The Hemi is back, it runs, the car drives, and this video will show you how we got to this point. Joe rebuilt the rear end. We actually went to Mooresville, tried to get the Hemi, and then went back home without the Hemi, and then got the Hemi again. A lot going on in this, plus 1/8 mile drag strip testing, 1/4 mile drag strip testing, lots of action for you guys, and a whole lot of stuff we learned along the way. Let's do it. So here's the deal. I have a dream. It's to go back to Hot Rod Drag Week with my friends and finish. Goal number 1. I'd love to win a gas, but finishing, that's the most important thing because we didn't finish last year, Tony and I. And it's a new year, it's a new me, it's a new you. Why not have new adventures with my favorite car? So let's recap the last few months. We have had a lot of success with the Hemi this year. We have won 2 drag and drives, both the A-gas and stick shift classes. We've gone runner-up at a 3rd one. We finished all of them, which has been great. But on that last pass of the last drag and drive I was at, which was Sick at the Green, car left the line on the back tires and the motor just shut off. And at first I didn't think it was that big of a deal until I saw the dent in the oil pan and realized we broke an aluminum rod. And we broke an aluminum rod because they'd been in there way too long. I think we had 2,000 miles and 140 passes on them. And the truth is, they should have been taken out of the motor at about 80 passes. Uh-oh.
A little swipe on it. It doesn't look bad.
Piston's junk. Bottom edge of the sleeve is junk, so I don't need a sleeve. Got the inside of the block a little bit. Motor went back to HED. The big giant check that I won, that went to HED. And now we have a brand new set of Cali steel rods in it. The motor is refreshed, Keith Black block. Brand new set of diamond pistons in it, and brand new flat out copper head gaskets. And I'm holding this because you're gonna see some footage of Joe and me going to Mooresville to pick up the Hemi because it was done, but we didn't leave with the Hemi. And I don't even know how much I filmed of this. You may be cool, but you'll never be Chevy G10 van twin turbo LS with a friggin' wizard on the side of it cool. And slot mags. Damn, this thing's cool. Ain't nobody stepping to the wizard with those eyeballs. Look at that, they just see right into your soul. Whew. Look at the power of this. It's undeniable. Oh, we've got gold flake steering wheel, like Blasphemi. And reflecting off the window is Biggin's tow rig, also cool. Biggin's Jeep, also cool. There's a theme here. Pretty sure this crazy Jeep has a turbo LS as well. I've ridden in the back of this. It's sketchy. Yep. Turbo LS. Oh, and here comes the rain. You hear it? Perfect conditions for transporting motors in the bed of your pickup. All right, I know I said we were going to Pete's to pick up the Hemi, but the injectors are across the parking lot at Customs by Biggin. This is Biggin, my friend Eric Yost. Fabricator, racer, tuner too?
A little bit.
A little bit of tuner. But he also has a badass flow bench here for cleaning, flowing, and testing fuel injectors. So usually when we nuke a motor and it goes to Pete's, we bring the injectors here so that Biggin can make sure they're working. What did you find out about mine?
Both of them were good.
Really?
Yeah, no issues this time.
The injectors are being pulsed, fluid's going through them, and you can visually see how evenly they're flowing, or not. It's like that kid's game where you shoot the clown's mouth with the squirt gun. This guy's gonna win, he's off to the races, this dude's catching up, that one's in dead last. Were those the 80s or the 160s?
The 160s, the Holly.
Okay.
So I do the big ones on this bitch. So it runs a ECU, a mega squirt or micro squirt, and I can Holly injector driver, so I can run it any pulse width, any duty cycle. So if you have a problem in any of your tuning, I can put it right there and run them. But we run them all the way through the RPM range and do all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, they were good, no issues, didn't have to clean them. So.
Oh, cool. Well, that's nice. At least some didn't break. So if you're near Mooresville, North Carolina, or you're near a mailbox, you can reach out to Biggin, send your injectors in. He will make sure they're good to go before you go to the racetrack. What does it cost?
$10 per injector to flow them, $25 per injector to flow, clean, reflow.
Okay.
And I usually get them, if I got to clean them 2 or 3 times, I got 2 sonic cleaners, and I actually got 2 different injector benches I can put them on, so usually get them pretty good.
Cool. All right. I'll put a link in the description of this video so you can learn how to contact him if you need your fuel injectors cleaned, or you need a badass C10 that I can't show you fabricated, because apparently there's some embargo on that, some top secret stuff. When I got there, everybody looked stressed out. You know, it's about a 6-hour drive for us, and we weren't going to be taking the Hemi home. On the bench was one of these gaskets from my Hemi, and there was a little indentation right here. And that indentation was from a stainless wire ring that is in the deck surface of the block that's usually round, and it seals the head gasket to the deck and the cylinder head. Well, nobody realized or could figure out whether this was an old gasket with a little problem there, or if that round wire had popped out of the surface of the block during the moments where they were checking piston to valve clearance and mocking up the engine. So long story short, the engine was assembled, everything was torqued together, it was ready to go home, but we all sat there and went, well, is that top fuel hoop, is that fire ring, whatever you want to call it, is that thing popped out of the groove in the block right now? Or is everything fine and this was just a head gasket that got used for mock-up and it was old and it was from a problem a long time ago?
I want to rip this head off real quick. If you guys could kill some time.
Let's do it. So I just said, well, look, you know, let's just take the head off. Let's be sure. No hard feelings, no big deal. We'll get the motor later. And so we took the head off, and sure enough, that round wire ring had just popped out of the surface of the block and it had dented that head gasket. So I have one in my hand because we bought 2 more, overnighted them, and now I have a spare. And the guys at HED put the Hemi back together and hand delivered it to us here at home, saving us a 6-hour drive again. So shout out to those guys. A lot of the footage that you're gonna see here is us putting the car back together. Joe rebuilt the rear end with parts from Quick Performance. We got a new strange third member, new axles, new fluid, new gasket. Everything back there is new.
All right, guys, I got everything unboxed and sitting here ready to get installed, thanks to Quick Performance. Those guys kick butt over there. Our third member here is a strange 9.5-inch through bolt Pro HD case with 35 spline, big pinion, 411 Pro gears in it. It has a S-Track posi with it's got a helicoil worm gear posi unit in it. Our axles here are actually Quick Performance Extreme Service axle, 35 splines. They're custom alloy hardened axle. Both of these units are good for up to about 1,400 horsepower. These work great. Our last stuff, we probably had about 140 passes and several thousand street miles on it. And the only reason we're doing this is because of the severe tire shake that we got at 6 on the green.
The guys at TIC Performance rebuilt our G-Force. What do you call that thing? So we have a transmission. It's a T56 Magnum. It's a 6-speed. And it has G-Force internals, the gears, right? It was assembled by the guys at TIC Performance in Mount Airy, North Carolina. And so I don't know what you call it. It's a TIC transmission. It's a Tremec transmission. It's got G-Force parts. It's got a lot of TIC parts in it, like that Trick billet front cover. Whatever you call it, it's a badass stick shift transmission. Like if you're gonna go stick shift racing with your street car, great transmission to have. I love it. So that's back in there. We did not change our clutch program because it was working really well back in May, and no need to mess with something that was already good. So that's going back in. And then we're gonna go testing. There's an 1/8 mile test at Brainerd Motorsports Park in Ringgold, Georgia. There's a 1/4 mile test at Alabama International Dragway in Steele, Alabama. We're going to both those places because we only have like 3 weeks before drag week and we want to be ready. So anyway, here's all that stuff.
It's no fuel and there's no fuel pressure.
$137 going way left.
Yeah.
Dude, that was some.
All right. That'll work for me. That was stout. Sounded good. So 137.60 foot out of the trailer.
If you're gonna be slow, at least make fireballs.
Yeah.
Let's start. 137.60. We're spinning the tires. We'll plug in and find out for sure.
He got the cone.
Oh, whoop.
Well, that was good.
That was solid. 567.
Sorry about the cone, fellas. Mike got a cone.
Whoops.
That's your trophy tonight, Mike, is a cone. Well, that thing moved out. I wonder what the 60 was.
Might have spun a little bit, but it did leave. I know you can't see me in here. Maybe you guys can hear me. That is a start.
What did it run? 561?
I think it said 132 or 134.
Was it 567? All right.
At 113.
Yeah, he was out of the groove again.
But he was also way out of.
All right, well, that's a wrap. That's 3 passes. Good way to break it in. And yeah, we'll go out to Steele and we'll test for 1/4 mile passes. Let's see what we can do. See if we can get this thing into the low to mid 50s in a full 1/4 mile. Here is your victory cocktail.
Victory ice cream.
Lemons and a lemonade tonight.
Not a bad way to end it. Not a bad way.
What was our 60?
134?
Nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
It felt brave.
It actually hiked the front tires that time.
Yep.
It left good.
Did I run over their timing box? I tried not to.
Oh, you annihilated the cone.
Was that the last car I held?
I think so.
I lived it. I tried not to. But I didn't want to ruin it for everybody.
Oh, I saw it. It went into a million pieces.
Oh, God.
I looked at him and said, sorry about your cone, guys. And they were laughing there. So it's okay.
Oh, my God. I feel bad. Because honestly, I lifted way early. And it still went a 65.
Yeah.
Which is,
67.
yeah, it went a 67 and only 113.
Yeah.
We went a 69 at 125 in
Bowling Green.
Bowling Green. Yeah.
In similar air to this or worse?
Probably about the same as this.
About the same.
But now the blower's fresh and making more power.
Let's make more power.
That's a wrap on this test session.
I think we need to look at it, but it's probably okay to go run Thursday. Who's ready to look at data? This guy. I love data. Total nerd for this stuff. Okay, everybody, let's look at our data. This is Holley EFI software. This is what's on the car. I have a Dominator ECU. This is logging everything the engine and the car is doing. In particular, if you go here, we're looking at our clutch tuning. So this blue line is engine RPM. This is us sitting on the starting line at the 2-step. I let out the clutch. Engine RPM increases as the car starts moving. Down here, This, the red one, is the input shaft speed of the transmission. So this is the crankshaft spinning, this is the input shaft of the trans, in between you have the clutch. If these don't match, then you know your clutch is slipping. So essentially, our clutch is slipping from here all the way to here. This is when they overlay, this is when the engine and the transmission input shaft are spinning at the same rate. That's how you know you're locked up. We need slip. At the very beginning of the run, we need slip. So this right here is good slip, all right? The car is moving forward, but the clutch is slipping. Now it starts to grab and go, right? This area here is kind of wasted movement. This is inefficient. You can see the engine RPM climbs up, then tugs down once the clutch meets it and really starts grabbing. If we could get this moment where these lines cross to happen earlier in the run, like back here, we go quicker. So after this pass, we crawled under the car, we adjusted our base spring pressure, we added a half a turn to the base. We also added 6 grams of counterweight to the levers. And so now we're gonna go run the car again, right? Except this time we're gonna go to Alabama because they have a quarter-mile track, because drag week is quarter-mile racing. We need to know what this car will do in the quarter mile. And our goal for the longest time is to get back where we were years ago. In 2019, when we won, on the very first day of competition, we ran an 8.52 second run in the quarter mile at 161 plus miles an hour. That is a pass no one has come close to in the history of drag week since then. That is the class record. I would love to get there again. I would love to be able to do that every day of the competition. But as we all know, that is really hard. It is really hard to be consistent at a drag and drive when you're driving 1,000 miles and when you're going to a different track every day, when the weather changes, when you don't run in the same place at the same time every day back to back. It's hard to be consistent and to go fast. So anybody that's out there that's doing that well, legends. We are not legends. So the reason we are always working on Blasphemi, always trying to go faster, always breaking it and rebuilding it, the reason I don't ever quit that is I haven't achieved the goal. I want to go as quick as we went in 2019, this year, drag week. So to that end, we're gonna go to Alabama because they have a quarter-mile track. I think the car is ready for it. Let's see if we can go further than 1/8 mile and how quick we can go, all right? And then we'll look at that data because that should be some good data. I wish I had brought Rain-X. It's a little foggy. So it's, I don't know, 10:30 at night on a Thursday. We're in Alabama at Alabama International Drag Strip because they have a test session tonight for a bunch of pro mods and local racers who are having a big old race here this weekend. We're not here for the race. In fact, we only came here to make 2 test passes, but it rained today and they took all afternoon to dry the track out. They just got the right lane prepped. The right lane is the lane I want to be in because the left lane has supercross whoops at about 1,000 foot that I don't want to go down. Blasphemi is prepped. We are hoping for a new PB here. I believe the car has it in it to go in 850. Can we do it? Can I get the windshield to stop fogging up? These are all the questions I have right now.
There we go. My first quarter-mile pass with the rebuilt Hemi. First quarter-mile mass in 2 months. Let's make it a good one. Well, not sure what happened. I think you might have missed a gear or something. It left good, sounded good, and then no bueno. And the only thing we've changed since Brainerd is we added some more weight to we added 6 grams to the clutch and I think half a turn of base. But damn it, I was hoping that would go all the way down. I think he missed a shift or something.
Yeah, it left good.
All right, we'll definitely come back and make another one.
Oh, that was really bad. Slipped really bad.
The clutch did?
Yeah. Oh, horrible. It was like a 140, 60 foot. I short shifted it because it was like not going anywhere, which just made it worse. And I wonder if it doesn't have something to do with the fact that I wound that one adjuster out the wrong way and then put it back. Or if the track's just so amazingly good that we don't have enough.
Track is pretty good out there.
Well, if that's the problem, we're screwed because we're almost out of base turns. So we'd have to change springs at this point. What I was hoping for was to show you guys Blasphemy's back, it's hauling butt, we're ready for drag week, but clearly we are not ready for drag week. So we'll work on this while finding something else in the garage to play with to keep our spirits up. I don't think anything bad's happening, but we're gonna look it over just in case. Let's pack it up.
You know this place, if you think about it, it's a great facility. Track prep is always on point.
Staff is nice.
This place is great. Yeah, lots of really nice stackers here, pro mods, all that stuff. But it's never been very good to us.
Yeah.
Let's back up. Let's be real. This track has not been good to us.
This is true. And I was excited to run the right lane for once, because I never get to run the right lane. Finally, I got the right lane, which doesn't have the Supercross whoop-de-doo section at 1,000 foot. But I didn't make it 1,000 foot. I made the first turn out, like 8th mile. So, yeah, we went 3 hours away to go to a quarter-mile track to only go an 1/8 of a mile. Maybe not even that. So, not the success we were looking for, but we'll do it again. So we're back, and confusing night of testing at Alabama. It rained on our way there, and it rained at the track. So when we got there, we pretty much stood around for about 5 hours. They had to dry the track, obviously. And then they got the left lane going because pretty much everyone there was to go 8th mile racing. There was maybe 2 of us that wanted to go quarter mile, and we wanted to go in the right lane because the right lane is smoother. So we waited until I think 11 or 12 o'clock at night before we finally made a hit. And as it turns out, we only made one, and I'll tell you why. The car left the line, and at first I thought we were slipping the clutch, and then, I don't know, I hadn't driven it in so long that I was lifting off the gas to make the gear change, kind of like you would in a street car. Like if you're in your mom's 78 Tercel, you know, 4-speed, you lift off the gas and you push the clutch in to make a gear change. Well, in this thing, normally, I wouldn't use the clutch or lift off the gas. I would just run it into the rev limiter and bang the next gear. Well, I didn't do that. So, a lot going on. Thought the clutch was slipping, didn't make a good gear change. However, the engine was down on power. So, let's look at all those things I'm talking about and see what they look like on a computer screen, because this is always fun. So we'll start here on our Holley Dominator software. We're in the drag race panel, and we're going to change this to white so you can see it better. Okay, so right here we're sitting on our 2-step, all right, and we're sitting here at 4,000 RPM. We're making 14 pounds of boost, which with our fresh blower stop 871, that's where we should be. And you see our air fuel, this is on E85, so this is very, very lean, but it's not. So it's sitting on the 2-step, it's misfiring essentially. When you're on the 2-step, you're on a rev limiter, and it's alternating firing sequences basically. It's dropping cylinders, not firing them all the time. And so when it misfires and it explodes in the exhaust, all that extra fuel, it looks like it's lean, it's really not. The moment it comes off the 2-step and it starts going up in engine RPM, you'll see our air fuel, the number goes down, which means we're going richer, okay? I'm gonna take some of this stuff out of here because you don't need to see all of it, like oil pressure. We had it, we don't need it. Ignition timing, we're not gonna look at that. Here's an interesting one, throttle position. Let me show you that. Let me change the color so that it looks different than all the other colors that are up there. I don't know how well you can see the green. Let's try that again.
Try that again, because I can't see nothing.
Let's go for yellow. We got options here. How about yellow?
Sucks too.
That sucks too. All right. Yellow on gray. I'm not an interior designer. I don't know what works. All right. Yellow on gray does not work. Okay. How about black?
Yeah, let's go black.
So this is throttle position. It is, change the green. This is throttle position. We're at 100% throttle. Red is engine RPM, so we're sitting here on the 2-step at the starting line. I let the clutch out, engine RPM goes up, throttle position is 100%, like flat, except right here. Right when we're about to make a gear change, I revert to 16-year-old high school Mike learning to drive, and I dump the throttle to make the gear change. Not the fastest way to go down the track, so I got to fix that, right? All right, now that we know I screwed up driving, let's get rid of that so we don't focus on the negativity. So that line's going away. All right. What we have here is engine RPM, and then hits the rev limiter, gear change, engine RPM again. Right now we're going to focus on our air-fuel ratio. If I click here, 7.89 is really lean. We were targeting 7.0, which is pretty rich on E85. 7.89 is not where we want to be. That's where we were 2 years ago when we were caving in our pistons, so that's bad. But that's the left bank, right? Cylinders 1, 3, 5, 7. The right bank is a full ratio richer, 6.9. That's richer than I want to be. So we have some work here to do on our tune. And the good news is we have 16 injectors. We have injectors in the runners and the blower. We can tune individual cylinders, so the right cylinders need some attention. All right, so we know we got to do that work. Let's come over here to our clutch tuning panel. So we added some base pressure, we added some counterweight to our thing, and you would expect that these two lines would meet earlier in the run, like back here. That's what I was expecting. The problem is we had other issues going on. So keep that in mind. Our clutch changes didn't equal better acceleration, nor did it equal these lines meeting earlier in the run, because if I go back to drag race and I look at boost, we're down on boost. We were making 14 on the two-step and it drops to 12 during the run. Previously, we were at 14 on the two-step and it was like 13.5 during the run. We lost a pound of boost during this run. So let's go over to the car and try to figure out why that's happening. So what we've learned through years of racing with a supercharger and Blasphemi is that these belts have a lifespan, and when you sit at the starting line with a two-step rev limiter on the supercharger, it is not happy about it, and it wears these things out fast. It does two things. It rounds off the teeth of the belt, and it stretches the belt. And certain belts stretch more than others. This thing doesn't move. We've marked it. You know, this idler that clamps onto the snout of the blower, we've questioned it in the past, maybe that's moving, but we've marked it, come back from a pass, and had the belt loose, but the mark didn't move. So I still at some point would like to try a different style one, the kind that slides left and right versus the swinging one. But really what I know is it's time for a new blower belt on this thing. So a new blower belt fixed the fact that we're down on boost on this run. However, there's another issue, and this is the issue that caused me to only make one run last night and to come home, because I wasn't willing to risk what I was seeing. When we go to EGT, these are exhaust gas temperature probes. We have one for every cylinder. 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8. Left side of the motor, even side of the motor. These should all be next to each other. They are, except until here. That's bad. That's cylinder number 5 leaving the chat. It was there when we were on the starting line of the two-step, but about 0.3 of a second into the run, cylinder number 5 said, nope, 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 we're not going to make the heat that the other ones are making during the whole first gear, but at the top first gear, we'll come back. And I was scratching my head about that for a long time, but I called Pete this morning, and we looked at some things. And Pete's opinion, I don't want to speak for him, but we did talk. Pete's opinion is that the engine is too rich. Now I know I just said, hey, look at that, it's too lean. But I think the reason it's reading lean is because it misfired number 5, and it misfired number 5 because it went too rich. So this is too rich. We should be 7.0, 7.2, 7.3. I wouldn't go leaner than that, but when you're down in the 6s, that's probably not the right way to be running this thing on E85. So I think the reason our 60-foot slowed down last night, which was a 140 versus a 137, I think the reason I felt like the clutch was slipping wasn't that the clutch was slipping at all. It was just the car wasn't accelerating, you know. And I think it's all related to the fact that we had a different tune in the car. That tune had more fuel in the base map, and closed loop compensation was throwing 5% of the map extra at it. That's this line right here, this yellow one. During the run, it was throwing 5% more fuel on top of the fact that Pete had put more fuel in it between our first test session and our second test session, making the thing go real rich. So what we're gonna do today is verify that mechanically we don't have any other issues going on. So we're going to check the plug wire on number 5. We're going to pull the valve covers off, make sure we don't have a loose rocker or a push rod getting eaten up or a can lobe going away. We're going to look at all that stuff, and if we don't find anything wrong, Pete's going to lean out the tune, and then we're going to go test again. I don't know if it'll happen in this episode or not. Probably not. But we'll show it to you at some point. Because I don't think this thing is hurt. I think this thing is on the verge of running big numbers, which I'm really excited about. So let's just make sure, we'll take it apart, we'll make sure everything's good, and then, yeah, we'll call it a day.
If you bring up our RPM traces between the Brainerd track and Alabama,
Let's do it.
it shows you how bad it was down on power last night.
Let's do that. I'll take off everything you see. This is just RPM. And then we'll bring up, so this is the Alabama run last night, which was slower than our Georgia run. So, you can see the difference in engine RPM. This one, way more RPM, but it took longer to get there. Less RPM, got there sooner. So yeah. And we'll put boost in here. Why not?
Yeah, this just looks that looks lazy to me.
Yeah. Well, and look at the boost level.
Yeah.
You know, we're down on boost. We're down on power. You know, I think that tells the story. Is we're down on boost. We're down on power. The engine was lazy. Now we just have to figure out why. I'm pretty sure it's just the only thing that really changed between that run and that run was Pete put more fuel in the tune. And because it's running in closed loop, it also compensated by putting more fuel in it. So I think we're going to take this apart a little bit, find nothing mechanically wrong, have Pete tweak the tune, go back out, and we're going to run fine. Here we go, everybody. These are the spark plugs from the driver's side of the engine. There's number 5. We want to check that one. We'll check them all, but we want to check that one in particular. What we've discovered is repeatedly yanking these on and off over and over again when changing spark plugs and whatnot. Eventually, the connection between the terminal in here and the wire itself, even though it looks like it's crimped and it's good, I've had them where they look great, and when you do a continuity test, there's no connection at all. So it's possible that could be the culprit here. But we're also going to check valve lash in all of these and make sure number 5 intake and exhaust doesn't have excessive lash. Doesn't feel like it. I mean, granted, we got to roll the motor over and get it to the base circle of the cam to be sure, but if it just happens to be on the base circle right now, which it might be because there's lash in both of them, that's fine. Yeah, see how like there's no lash there, there's lash here because that one's on the base circle, that one's not. That one's not. That one's not. So those are our 2 main tests. Let's make sure mechanically we don't have anything weird going on. And although we don't think anything's wrong on that side, we'll check that side too, just because. Joe's getting the valve cover off right now.
Everything looks good over here.
That's good news.
Yeah. I don't see any. All the tips look good. So, bueno.
This here is a digital multimeter. Does a lot of things, most of which I don't know. But I do know I can do a continuity test. I can measure for amps. I can measure for volts. I can do a lot of things. What I can't do is answer my phone with it. So I'm going to ignore my neighbor. So number 5 was our problem. So we're going to check all of them, particularly number 5 though. We're going to pay attention to that one. So they're not long plug wires. These are build them yourself Hemi spark plug wires from MSD. They're 8.5 millimeters. They're great. The thing about them though is every time you pull them off, this is a handle built into it. There's the connector. Every time you pull it off, you run the risk of damaging the connection in there. And these clamp down on the wire really well. So you can pull them off a bunch of times, but sooner or later, you're going to lose continuity here. And I don't know that's what happened, but we're going to find it out. The way you do a continuity test is you flip the dial over to the little speaker part right there. And when you touch the ends together, it makes a noise. So you know you have a connection between both of these terminals and these wires. So we'll do the same thing. And with any luck, number 5 will make some noise. Actually, with any luck, it won't, because that would be an easy fix, right? Just build a new spark plug wire. Okay, I'm in the metal. I can hear that. So I can see ohms on the meter. I can feel it scratching the metal. I don't hear continuity. Let's touch these together again, make sure it's still working. Let's go back in here. There might be a problem with that wire. Oh, there's definitely a problem with that one now because you went through the boot.
My bad. That's silicone to fix that.
Okay. All right, number 5 might be a problem. Let's try some of the other ones though. Because I have had these where it won't show continuity. And essentially on these kind of spark plug wires, normal resistance is about 40 to 50 ohms per foot, I believe. So that's a 1 foot long wire. If it says 400 ohms or 300 ohms, you know there's too much resistance. But worse than that is right now,
I saw it.
we have resistance, but not continuity. So maybe, I'm not an electrician or an engineer, but perhaps it's time to replace these wires. Let's see. Let's do number 5 one more time. All right, we're gonna replace the wire just in case. It's not making the noise, so. And as a not professional electrician, I'm gonna go, well, it's not making the noise, maybe we don't have contact. My quest for knowledge led me to call several people at MSD Ignitions, maker of these 8.5mm superconductor wires. And one of the questions I've always had is, if the test for spark plug wires is resistance, and these particular wires are rated at 50 ohms per foot, I measured all of them, and they're close to within spec. They're all within 50 to 60 ohms per foot. However, none of them show continuity and beat my meter. And over the years, very few of these MSD wires have ever done that for me. I've always wondered why. So I called MSD, and nobody had the answer. And so I just decided, well, I'm going to build another number 5, the exact same length, and just see what the difference is between the resistance of the old wire and the resistance of the new wire. 121.6 ohms for this wire, number 5 cylinder, which is about 25 inches long. And the new one, which is the same length, 86.3. What does that mean? Why is that different? I don't know. I even thought this one might not be as good as the other one because I used the MSD cool stripper crimper pliers. These things are fantastic. The center wasn't quite as long as it normally is. It's between the dual crimp part of the terminal. It's called dual crimp terminal because it crimps here and it crimps there. This side crimps the shielding. This part crimps the center of the wire. And it did crimp that, but it doesn't stick in as far as I normally see it. So why is this one have less resistance than this one when they're the same length? Is it because we've run this one? I have no idea. Does it build up resistance over time after you use it? I don't know. But I have a log of these now, and so the next time I do this, I can compare. And again, I don't think this is our smoking gun. I think our tune was a little rich and it misfired, and we lean it out. The next time we're good to go. But we'll find that out the next time we run the car. In the meantime, I'll have a spare set of spark plug wires that I've built here, just in case. All right, these are feeler gauges. These are precision, thick pieces of metal. They're basically steel, and they're marked right there, 1,000ths of an inch, 007. And also millimeters, but I don't really know what those mean, so we'll just ignore those. Stick with the old US of A, 1,000ths of an inch. And when the engine got built, the valve lash got set. The valve lash is the clearance between the roller tip of the rocker and the valve stem. And you have to have that clearance there so that when the valve closes, there has to be enough gap there that whether the engine is cold and tight or warm and it expands, there has to be enough gap there for the valve to shut all the way. If you had zero lash and you had a solid lifter and a solid push rod and a solid rocker arm, the valve would bend. It would never shut all the way. But if you have like a hydraulic lifter that's full of oil, then you don't have to have any lash. You don't have to have any clearance in there. So this is solid, so we need the lash. So right now what I'm doing is I have a button on the firewall right here that's connected to the starter solenoid, and I use that to rotate the motor over. And when each rocker arm and the lobe of the cam gets to the base circle of the cam, that's when the valve will be shut. And that's where we should have lash. So the way I do it is, this is the intake rocker for number 7. This is the exhaust. And I just use the phrase EOIC, and that's how I remember. Exhaust opening, intake closing. So right now the intake just shut all the way. It's kind of too late to do that. You really want to, when the intake is almost all the way closed, you'll check the valve on the exhaust. When the exhaust just opens, you'll check the lash on the intake. So I'm going to bump this until I see this rocker arm move just a little bit there. Now I'm going to check the lash here with my feeler gauge between, like I said, the tip of the valve and the roller, and that one is at 0.008 of an inch. And because I didn't build this engine, I'm looking just for everything to be similar, and so far it is. Everything is between 7 and 0.008 of an inch. Number 5 exhaust is a little loose. It had 0.010 of an inch of lash, but nothing that leads me to believe this is why that cylinder is misfiring. All signs are pointing towards overly rich tune and misfiring, not something mechanical, which is great news. So the exhaust is opening all the way. It's going to start closing. There will be overlap. Then the intake's going to open. There it goes. The intake we needed to open all the way, come back up and be almost closed. Then the cam for the exhaust lobe over here should be on the base circle. And we can check our lash. So that's about halfway. That's about almost all the way. So now we're going to stick our feeler gauge in there. That's an 0.008 feeler gauge. It goes in and out. There's a little drag on it. It's a little looser than what I would consider to be 0.008, so I'm just going to call it 9. And that side of the engine is done. The last thing we'll do is just a visual inspection to look for any broken springs. I don't have a on-head spring checker that I can check the seat pressure, but if I did, that would be another good way to find out if there's broken springs. But this stuff is all brand new. I seriously doubt we broke anything. And I think this is going to be as simple as a clutch adjustment, a change in the fueling of the tune, and then we go back to the racetrack and run the car again. Push rods look good. Springs look good. I think this side is happy. The last thing we could do is build a new set of spark plug wires, because I am questioning those, and change out the number 5 coil. And we'll probably do that just so that we don't go to the track and waste our time there. You know, you might as well eliminate whatever variables are there because we have the pieces. So I don't think she's hurt. I think she just needs a little tweaking.
I think she's good. You know, I'm wondering if we weren't down on power yesterday, if our clutch would have worked a little better.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the data now, I don't believe the clutch was slipping bad like I thought it was. The car was just accelerating slowly, and I was in first gear longer than I would have been because we were down on power, because we were down a pound of boost, because cylinder number 5 looked like it wasn't firing. So yeah, I think you're right. I think you get it making the same power it made, you know, when we were in Brainerd, and it should run the same there. And if it runs the same there and I don't screw up my shift strategy, then we could run it out the back door and find out how quick it is. The problem these days with trying to go quarter-mile racing is not a lot of people do it anymore. Not a lot of drag strips are quarter-mile drag strips anymore, which is a bummer because I really like 4th gear in this car. In other cars, 1/8 of a mile, I'd be fine doing it. This particular car, when it's really fun, is when you click it in 4th gear. That's not to say it's not fun 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. I just really enjoy 4th gear.
It's a freight train on the big end.
It is.
Like, it is literally a freight train.
It's a great engine.
I tried to explain this to someone the other day about how, like, to the 8, it runs 120, 125-ish, right?
Yeah. A good day,
Out the
129.
back, it's going 160.
Yeah.
That's trucking.
160 is fun, like genuinely fun. And I don't know how much. I think I'd be comfortable in this car going 170 max. I don't think I want to go any faster than that with the nose of the car way up in the air like it is.
I'm not sure our back window would stay in at 170.
Well, I didn't say the car would go. Me personally, I'd be okay with it. But there's no point in trying to push it to go 170. You know, we're already breaking it at 160, and we don't have enough roll cage to go 170 anyway. So my goal is consistent 850s. That's it. When we reach that, then I don't have anything left with this car that I want to do. At that point, put it in parade mode and take the kids to school and get ice cream, you know, work on something else. So
Go to cruise nights.
go to cruise nights. Yep. All right, we'll put it back together and then we'll go testing again. And you will see that on a future episode of Finnegan's Garage. Thanks for hanging out.